I'm Rick Gilbert along with Alexander Central football coach Butch Carter. The calendar says it's summer, but this is spring practice in North Carolina. Interesting. I have watched some of the drills over the course of the last week or so, and it's fun to watch it. First, Coach, let's talk a little bit. This started last year, actually, when things changed a bit. Talk a little bit about what spring practice is as far as football in North Carolina.
Well, Rick, we actually adopted some form of spring practice last year. You get a 10-day period that you can participate with no contact, helmet, shoulder pads, equipment-wise, no body-to-body contact. But it's a good time. You can have unlimited numbers. And so we conduct it just like we would a practice, offense, defense. We didn't get to the special team segment as much as I'd like to this year, but that's we wanted to emphasize installing our new offense, new defensive scheme, and things of that nature. So we actually did a lot of 7-on-7s, and we actually implemented a spring game, which was a 7-on-7 blue gold game that you were actually in attendance at this year, and went really well, and some good excitement, and I thought our kids handled well. I give our spring a A+. I thought we had a great spring and a good head start for us. And it was a really nice time for all of our players to kind of learn the new verbiage and our coaches. And I couldn't ask for it to go any better. I thought we had a tremendous spring.
You mentioned that no contact during the spring workouts. Tell us a little bit what you can and what you can't do during this time of year.
Well, Rick, what we do is we have our usually our practice broke down into individual time where you work with your position. I'll use offensive line, for example. They'll do the chutes and sleds and footwork and installing plays and things of that nature, just working on basic stance start type stuff, and then learning blocking schemes, pass protections, things of that nature. And we have, like I said, about 10 days. And what we did, Rick, is we went 4, 4, and 2. So we went 10 days, and we split it up in 3 weeks. So 4 practices the first week, 4 the next, and 2 the last, with the spring game at the end that we were able to do with the lineman challenge. But what we do is they can lock on pads and dummies and just working on basic fundamentals, and then obviously play installation as well. But as far as tackling, body-to-body contact to the ground, we can't do. But we were able to install a lot of our passing game with 7-on-7, things of that nature.
We had a conversation back a short while after you were announced as the new head coach, and you had met most of the players. Now you've met them all. You've seen them work. You've sort of gotten some sort of a barometer on the attitude and the enthusiasm. Give us a little bit of your impression of what you've seen in these months since you were hired.
Well, I've been able to see, the work ethic has increased dramatically. The weight room, I think it all starts in the weight room, and we kind of installed that attitude in the weight room. A practice atmosphere, fast, on the whistle, to the point. A lot of get tough type drills. Just we kid them. We do a lot of ab work. It's not where we're trying to build 6-pack abs. We're trying to see how hard and how long they'll go. It's a tough drill. It demands a lot, and we just didn't want them to die easy or quit easy. We want them to work through some pains and struggles. And I saw a dramatic increase in those type of drills. The camaraderie has really come together, and that stuff feeds off each other. The players feed off each other. But the attitude and effort has definitely been very high through our, toward the end of the spring, our spring practice, and now our summer workouts. I've been very pleased with the general attitude and effort. We definitely want the attendance to continue to grow and get better, and I think that'll come more and more as we continue building this process.
One of the things that's impressed me, and I've watched it, I was out here last week and you had freshmen doing agility drills, and today we were watching some of it, and some of it's being shown during the course of this interview. What I liked about it is, yes, they're working, yes, they're getting in better physical shape, but they were having fun too.
That's right.
And I think that's very important because football's a long season, and here we are in the spring, a couple months away from the start of the season, but those guys were having some fun, and I think that's important.
Rick, I think it's extremely important, and it's funny. I've noticed how it's changed from when I first become a head coach. I mean, we could drill sergeant these guys, and it was regiment and hard and tough. You could go over and over, and it's changed over to 15, 16 years. We like to do a lot of fast pace, what we call get tough drills, competitions. Really makes the player buy in and become a teammate, and it makes everybody come together. I think just the guys that are coming to workouts in our summer workouts have thoroughly enjoyed themselves. And every team that I've ever coached has won 2-digit wins of 10, 11, 12 win seasons. They've always had that close bond, and I think it's built through those camaraderie. Because we build that now, and then when you're in that fourth quarter and it's tough and it's a close game, you know what you've been through together. And I really think that pays off for those fourth quarter victories on those top ball games.
You know, I watched one drill in particular that I thought was very interesting. It involved a rope and tug of war. Now that goes back to ancient times, but that was a very interesting drill, and I think we've got some video of it. Talk a little bit about what that does.
Well, Rick, actually I picked up this drill. You know, coaches steal drills from other people and so on, and I was able to get this from University of Stanford.
One of the most prestigious academic institutions on this planet,
Right.
And they're going back to using a rope.
That's right. Don't outcoach yourself, right?
There you go.
Really simple drill, and I think it just tests your heart. It builds a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, camaraderie, teamwork, and so on. And we got several rope drills that we do. We'll do just your basic tug of war type drills. We'll do some 2-on-2s. But this specific drill that you're speaking on is you have to stay in one position, and you just one hand over another, and you pull one or two guys, and they work you at a tough pace. They're not really pulling against you, but they're making you pull the rope. And that's one thing one of our slogans we spoke about when I took over as a head coach here is I want everybody to pull the rope. I want everybody to be involved, everybody being part of the program. And it really ties in, that drill really ties into what we're trying to sell is everybody has to pull their part of the rope. And it's a great drill, and they have fun with it. And we hopefully continue growing with that drill, but that's the type of stuff we really like to do.
I've seen it and I've heard it. 2 words, all in. You used it today during those drills. I heard it the other day. All in. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's given, everything you've got to Alexander Central High School and the football program and your parents, your teammates, coaches. When you don't want to get up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning to go to workouts, you're all in, you go do it. You're pulling your part of the rope. And I think it's just, I think it becomes contagious the more you do it and the more it's talked about. And you start building those bonds and fellowship and friendships. And all that in turn comes together when you cross in between those lines and you're in a tough battle and a tough game. And you're relying on your teammate to do his job. It all comes back to all those things, doing your job, pulling your part of the rope. Can I count on you to be there? Accountability and so on. So all those tying together, and I think those are program builders and family ties and stuff like that. And I really believe that the guys are wanting to win and wanting to do the right things and wanting to show up when it is tough. It's not easy to get up every day and go to work out and pull ropes, flip tires. Chris Marshall, who's a great weight room guy, was screaming and hollering at you in the weight room. So,
and you can hear him pretty well
you can.
when he hollers. I mean, it's unmistakable.
He does not have an inside voice.
No, he does not.
But he does a great job, and all those things tying together, Rick. And I think it all comes back down to doing your job, being all in, being there for your teammate, and pulling your part of the rope.
It's an interesting time of year, and as we focus on this time of year, you're trying to get in good shape. Summertime is not sitting on a sofa eating pizza and chicken nuggets and playing video games. These guys have been let's face it, they're making a sacrifice. Now they're having fun, and I think that's important, but they are making a sacrifice in their summer.
They are, Rick, and our coaching staff and our assistant coaches are making sacrifices, and parents getting their rising ninth grader up here and so on. There's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of teamwork, and a lot of effort goes involved on just starting the program and getting here. What we were able to do, and I've tried several scenarios. I've went 5 days a week. I've went 4 days a week. But we really have figured out a way that I think works best, because I believe these young men need to enjoy their summer. I think they need to be able to get out here and enjoy their summer and be a teenager too. And when you can get them to understand how to balance that, they can have a good time with it. And so we go 3 days a week. We go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there's 3 segments. We usually start with a good warm-up. Then the varsity go to the weight room for session 1. JVs will do speed, agility, plyometrics, get tough drills like you witnessed today. And then the 3rd segment be on-field drills, maybe 7-on-7, or just individual offense or defensive practice. So we have 3 sessions, and they both run about 50 minutes each, and we get them in and get them out real quick.
Well, it's interesting to watch. When you and I talked back last winter, you and Coach Wilson had started conversations, and you said something to the effect, he and I are going to get together and we're going to decide what type of offense we're going to run. Well, what have you decided on?
Well, we're going to be a pro style or multiple style shotgun wing T offense. We're going to put Gunnar Anderson or our quarterback in positions to be an athlete and be able to get to this, be able to stretch the ball down the field, and still have the buck sweep and power running game that I'm used to running as well, as far as ball control offense. And then off the back side of it will be some triple option concepts. So a lot of the stuff that they already have in place mentally, we can still do. We are going to be out of the shotgun. We feel like we got some athletes we can put out in space, and we got a tremendous quarterback that can throw the football as well as I've ever seen. Just great composure and be able to throw the ball in the windows, and he's already picked up so quickly on the concepts of our reads and our offense. But the biggest thing is we don't want to outcoach yourself. But a little bit of, I guess one way to explain it is kind of what Auburn runs. I know Coach Wilson will be upset if I say that because he's a big Alabama fan. But a little bit of that. We're going to run maybe buck sweep off the play side, front side of it, and triple option look off the back side, or some type of quick passing game.
You mentioned Gunnar Anderson. I did a story last week. I put it on the website, and I used a quote from you.
Right.
This is what you told me. I have never had a quarterback like him. He is a unique young man. First of all, he comes from a football family.
Right.
He's the last of, and I wish that there were some more on the way. But he comes from a football family. They've got a football mentality. But he has a unique skill set that I know you said you've never had. He can spin the football.
He can. And his lead, and when I mentioned that, there's a combinations of a quarterback that not just throwing the ball, because I've had some, I had Trevor Souls, big, tall, 6'5" kid that could throw it through the wall. And I had a Casey Justice who was probably a good quarterback as far as running the offense and being able to throw the football. But he possesses the ability to throw the ball into tight windows. His demeanor is so calm. We were throwing 7-on-7 just a week ago. Snapped the ball, fumbled it a little bit, picked it up, rolled to his left, very calm, and threw a 50-yard touchdown pass down the left sideline. Never panics. Just great demeanor. He just has that. Some things and tangibles that you just can't coach. You either have it or you don't have it.
Right.
And I think that's what I was referring to when I said that. He's got some intangibles that I can't coach or anyone can coach, that he just has those intangibles. And he's a tremendous young man and a very good quarterback. And he's a young guy. We got him for a couple of years, and that's going to be really good for our football program.
Well, he got some experience last year. We really didn't want him to on the varsity level. It came out of necessity because of injury. But he did get some experience last year. And one of the things I noticed about him, of course I knew it already from watching him play JV, is his calm nature. He seems to,
His presence.
yeah, the building's on fire, but we're okay.
Yeah.
And you got to like that, and that's the way you want your quarterback to be.
And one thing I really noticed, Rick, is that the team really rallies with him. They believe in him and they know what he's about. So when he speaks to them, they listen to him. And that's qualities that, you just can't teach, leadership qualities, and he has them. We can do drills that make you a better leader, enhance your skills, but he has a calmness and a demeanor about him that I think you really need to possess to be a very good quarterback.
We got a tailback who is a rising junior, and Bryson Godfrey, who rushed for 1,300 yards last year.
Yes.
Very talented young man. Very talented young man. And what I've seen in the spring is you're putting him a lot of different places.
Right.
He's wide, he's in the slot, he's a tailback. So defenses don't exactly, they really have to pay attention of where he is.
Yeah, I just didn't want him to just have the capability to go one side. I want to be able to move him around. And what we developed in our offense scheme, he is an adjuster guy. He's going to play a lot of different positions. Now, he's going to think a lot, but he's a very bright young man, and he catches on really well. He runs really well. Just a great coachable young man. He's a joy to have.
One of the players that has impressed me is TC, Taewon Calhoun.
Right.
I was watching him in the agility drills. My goodness, he is cut. That young man is a man.
He is. He has really done his work in the weight room this spring and in winter. And the biggest thing I can say about him, though, is he's not going to lead with a real harsh voice or let's get in line, let's do this. He's going to lead by his actions.
Mm.
And I tell you what, if they were all like him, my job would be way too easy because he's good and he can probably play any position on the field.
Devin Weiss looks like he has gotten much stronger, and there's another young man that got a lot of experience last year, both offensively and defensively out of necessity, but he looks like he has really gotten himself much stronger.
He has. He's had a good spring and winter as well. And, these guys have, we talk about defense just a little bit, and I've talked to my defensive staff. We don't want to lose guys in practice due to this. We can't really have contact the way we used to back when we come through and back years ago. So we build that in the weight room now. You got to build that intensity and that toughness, get stronger, get physical in the weight room, and I think it really ties into playing defense as well.
Let's talk a little bit about defensively, and there's no secret that's where we have to improve. We gave up over 40 points a game last year. What type of defensive scheme are we going to run this season?
Well, Rick, we're going to hang our hat on defense and special teams, and we're going to win games with offense. That's kind of win championships on defense. We're going to be great in the kicking game. We really want to emphasize that stuff in our special teams. Defensively, and in turn, this is a little bit of an offensive question too. We have the capability to be a wide open, fast offense. We have the capability of really grounding out and pounding you and being physical and tough. And the way we're playing defense is going to determine how we play offense. If we're struggling on defense, and I've done this for years, we'll cover up our defense and eliminate snaps and control the ball on offense if we have to. If we're playing good on defense, we're going to pick it up. So if you see us the way the style we're playing on offense you'll know how we're playing on defense.
That's interesting. So the way your offense is performing will affect the way your defense and vice versa.
And that's a little bit of Bill Parcells' train of thought as far as we're going to control the ball on offense. Right. We're going to eliminate defensive snaps. Instead of playing 60 snaps on defense, let's try to get it down to 45, 50 snaps on defense. We won't control the ball. If we're playing really well on defense, we're going to pick it up on offense. So
obviously the big play.
Right.
Because, last year we would control the clock and have a 7-minute drive, and the other team would run 4 plays and they've scored a touchdown.
We've got to eliminate
that's very difficult.
And one thing I noticed, as far as speaking on defense, we're going to run, right now through our evaluation, we're going to run 3 different fronts. We'll be in a 3-4-50 front. We're going to base out of a 4-3 front. And then we'll have a goal line, short yardage front, and our bear front, our 6-2 type look.
Right.
We're going to learn those 3 fronts and some simple coverages. I'm going to keep defense very simple. because I want these guys not to think, but to react and get to the football in a very fast hurry and take pursuit angles. We're going to work pursuit angles. We're going to have turnover circuits. We're going to work on getting after the quarterback in the pass rush, in the blitz game. So we're going to teach three very basic fronts. A 3-4-50, whatever you want to call it, they're the same animal.
Yeah.
A 4-3 will be our base staple front that we know we can always get into and play.
Which is what we
Right.
ran last year, formation-wise.
Yep. And then our short yardage goal line will be a bear front, a 6-2 type defense, and we have to make sure we take care of some short yardage stuff. So we're going to teach those three fronts, 2 or 3 simple coverages. We'll game plan week to week, but we are going to get after people. We're not going to sit back and wait.
We're talking with Butch Carter, the new football coach at Alexander Central. He's going through his first spring practice here in Taylorsville. He's getting to know the young men, the coaching staff. Let's talk a little bit about them and your expectations for them. I've noticed that you are a guy much like Coach Basil. The assistants are very, very important.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I tell you what, I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have some good assistant coaches in place here. Matt Wilson, speaking on him right out of the gate, he and I have really hit it off well, and we understand each other, and we have the same goals in mind. Chris Marshall, great offensive line coach, great weight room guy. We've hit it off. Very blessed to have a very good weight room guy and a good offensive line coach. And I'll tell you, no matter what we run on offense or defense, the game of football was made for the trenches up front. Yeah. So we're going to be good up front. And I've got Jonathan Winkler coaching our defensive line. He's a veteran coach. He's going to be back with us. Mm-hmm. And I really, really am glad to have him. We have Dustin Anderson is coming over, just graduated from Appalachian State University.
One of the best players we ever had, and there you go. There's that Anderson tree.
And I've been very impressed.
There's no chance he's got a year or two eligibility left.
Well, I wish he did.
It'd be great.
But he's going to be our inside linebacker coach. Does a good job. Bob Fops coaching our outside linebackers. Just a great coach to have. The kids love him, and we got a few young calves, a couple old bulls in there mixed up. So we got a good mixture of staff. I do have a couple of positions I've still got open. I'm still looking for. Just don't want to hire off a whim, but
right.
We got some good coaches here on staff, and they've done a tremendous job this spring. And we talk about all in. They've been all in. I've been very pleased and blessed with their attitude and effort and working every day.
We talked a little bit about it in our conversation back in the winter, but the gold helmets back, right. And the 7-on-7, I'm seeing the gold helmets, and I just, me personally, it just seems like it fits. It fits this campus, this community. It's what we should have on. It's back. I like that.
Right. And I think it's. I just remember we spoke in our last interview that.
Yeah.
That's what Alexander Central. That's what I thought of when you think of Alexander Central is that gold helmet, and I think it's a tradition. The biggest thing is, and there's nothing wrong with the Navy. Navy is a big part of his school color here. But I think you got to understand your roots and at least have your school colors involved. And we have beautiful school colors here, and we want to be prideful in our colors and our history and our tradition here at Alexander Central.
It's almost July, so we've got less than 2 months before the season actually starts. What happens now till August 19th when we kick off against Watauga?
Well, I think what we need to do is we've kind of laid the groundwork in the strength in the weight room. We want to maintain it over the summer. We want to compete in 7-on-7. Really, I'll be honest with you, I like it for defense more than I do anything. Just lining up assignments, knowing where to go, and getting good at what we do, and competing. And then offensively, we want to continue to grow, but we want to be simple and be good at what we do. We want to be good at what we don't want to do a lot of things. We want to be good at what we do. So the summer right now is just bringing them together, doing those get tough drills like you watched today and in the past, and tire flips and rope pulls, building that camaraderie and family together, and maintaining our strength in the weight room. and be ready to go when it comes August 1st to start prepping and preparing to find the best football players to play each position. To me, that's what our scrimmages are for. I don't want to try to win a scrimmage. The way I want to handle scrimmages is I got to evaluate players, make sure I give them the right places because we want to get our best football players on the field. And then from there, we'll prep and get ready for Watauga High School, opening day, game 1 here at Alexander Central.
You mentioned, putting the best players on the field. That changes as the season goes along, I've noticed.
Yeah, I think that's what makes football a unique sport as well, too.
I've noticed that we've had instances in the past where maybe someone is a reserve and the starter is injured and the reserve performs so well that the coach says, well, I'm not taking him out. We're going to change things. So I've always thought that even if you're not a starter, you're one snap away from being one.
That's right.
And it can change, and it'll be interesting to see how these young men develop between now and the start of the season and once the season gets started.
It is, and they change. And, young high school football players, I think, make the biggest change from their sophomore to junior year, physically, mentally, and so on. And we've got a lot of young guys that got some playing time as sophomores.
They did.
And experience that you can't replace. So we want to build off that as well. But we want to develop an offensive and defensive scheme that's going to allow us to use our talents, move a Bryson Godfrey, not just have him on one side. Have a secondary where we can put pressure on a quarterback in a spread world of football now and still be physical and attack. Some of your best pass coverage is a pass rush if you don't have a lot of time. But we want to be smart in what we do and be able to evaluate and fit it's like a puzzle, putting a puzzle together. I've always said the biggest part in coaching, especially in high school, is being able to evaluate your talent quickly and get your best players in positions where they can help their football team be the best they can be.
Well, we are less than 2 months away from the start, and there's going to be some time for some relaxation, some vacation, some breathing, and once it all begins, 1st of August, then it's tough. So I encourage you and your coaches to breathe a little bit over the summer because the kids are going to have their fun. They're kids. That's what they do.
And they should.
They should.
They should.
But once the work gets started, I think we're all very eager to see what type of football team runs out there on the field. Here's what I hope. This is my hope. And I respected what I saw when you were at South Caldwell so much. They were tough, physical. They were going to do what they were going to do. And in the fourth quarter, they were probably going to be a little tougher and a little meaner than you are. Right. Because they had been through it. And that's what I hope we see here in Taylorsville this fall.
Well, what you just explained is what we're wanting to have mentally here as far as what the drills that we're doing right now. And we want to continue to get better at that and build that. Because I think when you go through that, when you do get in that fourth quarter, you kind of come together as a team. And obviously winning breeds winning, and it gives you power. But right now, the young men have really bought in and played some young kids last year, and they're stepping up and their roles increasing. But we definitely want to be tough, and I really want to be good at what we do. When I game plan against teams and I see them, I'll put their offense on the board, 12 formations and all these plays.
Right.
Now, the ones that scare me is the ones that have 3 or 4 formations, 3 or 4 plays, and they are really good at what they do. And they're going to be good at it, and they believe in it. And that's how I want us to be here at Alexander Central High School.
Well, it all starts when we kick off against Watauga, and my goal is for Watauga to have a miserable trip back up that mountain.
And mine too. Mine too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.